In the dead of the night, when silence takes over the world, there are stories whispered from every corner of the earth. Stories that send chills down the spine. Stories of people who vanished. Shadows that moved. Voices that echoed in empty rooms. And footsteps that followed when no one was there. Tonight, I will take you into a journey of the most haunting and terrifying tales, where reality blurs with nightmare. Long ago, in a small, isolated village, people believed that the forest surrounding them was cursed. Locals would warn travelers never to wander after dark. They spoke of a figure, tall and faceless, who lurked among the trees. Those who entered the woods at night were never seen again. One evening, a young man decided to test the legend. He walked deep into the forest, mocking the villagers' fear. Hours later, faint screams were heard. In the morning, searchers found his belongings scattered, but his body was gone. The only thing left was a strange symbol carved into the bark of a tree, as if marked by an unseen hand. There is another tale of an old mansion abandoned for decades. People say the family who once lived there disappeared without a trace. Neighbors claim that at midnight, faint piano music drifts out of the cracked windows, though the house has no electricity and the piano is broken. A group of curious friends once dared each other to enter. They laughed nervously, walking through dusty halls filled with broken furniture and cobwebs. Suddenly, one of them froze. He swore he saw a woman in white standing at the top of the staircase, staring silently. Before anyone could react, all the doors slammed shut at once. The group ran, but when they turned back, one of their friends was missing. To this day, no one knows what happened inside that mansion. But the scariest stories are not always about haunted places. Sometimes they are about people. A true story is told of a man who lived alone in an apartment. Every night he heard faint noises in his kitchen, but he assumed it was just old pipes or neighbors. One night he set up a camera. The next morning when he watched the recording, his blood ran cold. A woman he had never seen before was crawling out of the small cabinet above his fridge. She moved slowly, barefoot, with long, unwashed hair. She ate his food, wandered around, then crawled back into the cabinet and stayed there. Police later discovered she had been secretly living in his home for months. And then there are the roads, highways that seem normal during the day, but transform after midnight. In Japan, there is a legend of a ghostly woman who appears on deserted roads, dressed in a long dress, asking drivers for help. If you stop, she gets inside silently. Drivers report that she gives no directions, but when they look into the mirror, her face is covered in blood, and she disappears before reaching the destination. In Mexico, there is the weeping woman, known as La Llorona, who roams riverside searching for her lost children. Many claim to have heard her cries, soft at first, then piercing screams that freeze your blood. Those who follow the sound often vanish as if pulled into the water by unseen hands. Some stories even come from technology itself. A man once received strange voicemails from his own number, recordings of his voice crying for help. Another claimed his smart speaker spoke to him at night, whispering his name when no one had activated it. Skeptics say it is just malfunction, but those who experienced it swear they were not alone. Hospitals, too, are filled with stories of restless souls. Nurses often tell of patients who spoke of a dark figure standing at the foot of their bed the night before they died. One nurse remembered a child pointing at the corner of the room saying, "He's waiting for me." The child passed away hours later. Airports and airplanes hold mysteries as well. There are countless stories of people sitting next to strangers on long flights, talking for hours, only to find out later that no such passenger was ever registered on the flight. And prisons, with their history of suffering, are said to hold echoes of the past. Guards report hearing voices calling their names, footsteps following them, and sometimes the chilling sensation of a hand on their shoulder when no one is behind them. But some of the most terrifying stories are personal experiences, things people cannot explain. A girl once woke up in the middle of the night to find her phone on, recording. On the screen she saw herself sleeping, yet the video was being filmed from above her bed. She lived alone. In another case, a man driving home late at night saw a hitchhiker standing on the side of the road. He stopped and offered her a ride. She sat silently, staring out of the window. When he reached the town, he turned to ask where to drop her, but the seat was empty. The night is filled with such mysteries. Some say they are only imagination, tricks of the mind, or dreams. But every story comes from someone who swears it really happened. Maybe you have felt it too, the sense of being watched, the sudden cold chill in a warm room, or the sound of footsteps behind you when you are alone. These are not just stories, they are reminders that the world is stranger and darker than we can ever imagine. And sometimes, when you turn off the lights and the silence surrounds you, the shadows seem a little too close, and you wonder, are you really alone?